I'm going to show you how I drew on these eggs, considering how round they are. And I'll just give you a couple of little patterns you can use on your own if you want to draw, or you can decorate your eggs in any way that you like. Just thought this might be fun. So you're going to need a pencil, any kind. I'm using an ultrafine Sharpie here. Let me see if I can get that up there. It's ultrafine. Look how tiny the tip is. Can you see that? It's small, small, small. So ultrafine it's called. Permanent marker. This is an artist eraser or a white eraser. Just use it for, we're going to be using it. And then dyeable eggs of some kind. So these were dollar store. They said chalk egg decorating kit, like $2.50. Dye and decorate with ease, right? So 12 plastic dyeable eggs. That's what you're going to need. Something that you can be able to write on. So I'm going to just put these aside for now, and I'm going to show you the patterns in a bigger format, because if I try and draw on here, it's going to be hard for you to see. So there's one. You see the cute little butterfly, some little, I don't know, ferns, leaves and a flower. And then on this one, it's more or less some lilac. But just so you can see what I did, we're going to start with, there's the fern. All right. So always start with your pencil. You can write on here, right? And then if you hate it, make sure you can erase it off, right? You do it in pencil first, and then you're just going to trace over it with your pen. So here's how we do the fern. We just draw kind of just a bit of a curve. Can you see that? And then at the end, I like to put one kind of oval shape, and then you just do oval shaped leaves. Now you can put them close together. I like to do patterns where there's one on each side of the stem, basically. Okay, so we're just doing the ovals, and again, nothing perfect. This is a very sort of fun kind of look. There we go. All right. Once you're happy with that, you're like, oh, I don't like that too much. Imagine on your egg, much smaller. You're just gonna, and just go light. You don't need to go dark. I'm going dark just to show you. All right, I want my oval to be like there. So I'm happier with that. Then I might want to draw these little lines in. That's up to you. Totally not necessary. When you're happy with your pattern on your egg, grab your marker and start to trace. Just go slow. It may not be perfect. Trace around. And again, this is going to be much smaller, right? So trace around all your things that you want to leave on your egg. I'm going fast, but you can go slower. And I want these. Basically, wherever I want the black lines to show up on my drawing on my egg, I'm using the marker. All right. Give that a second to dry. Dries really quick on the egg. And then you lightly, this is why you did it lightly, you erase the pencil marks. And it looks like you are an amazing artist. It just whips stuff out in pen. All right. So don't go too, that's exactly why you want to go light, though, because the lighter you go, the easier it is going to be to erase that pencil mark. Okay. I'm going darker so you can see. So let me show you the little butterfly. All right. Butterfly is just do your little body, right? And it can be very thin. So, all right. And then, of course, up here is his antennae, 2 lines and 2 dots. And then you want his wings to come up pretty much to his head. So I do a smaller one on the top, and I like a bigger one on the bottom. Okay. Same thing on the other side, smaller. And again, you're only in pencil, right? So you can play around with this, and bigger. And there's your butterfly. And because he's so tiny, you're not going to need to do much more than that on your egg. So that's your little butterfly. And then, like I say, get him exactly the way you want them in pencil. You can play around. Do them in pen then, and then you're good to go. So I'll trace that out so you can see it. So little narrow little body, long and narrow. His antennae and two little dots. Then follow your work. And when you give that a second to dry, you can erase it. Now here's how I do the flower. Excuse me. I like to do basically a circle. Can we see that? And then I do these petals like this, right? So I come in and I just go next to each other, next to each other, next to each other. Mine are never perfect, but flowers are like that, right? And if you get like this and you only have a little space left, then you can do one that's kind of behind it. Looks like it's behind. Or you can erase a bit, make a couple a little bit thinner. And then squeeze one more in there. Work out your design before you put the pen to the paper. But keep it super light, okay? So there we go. And then I put dots, or you can put little hash lines to make it a little more flower-like, okay? Then my leaves are just, I pick a couple of spots and I just do a pointy, instead of one of these, I do it pointy and I put a little curvy line on it. And I like to do a couple of those together, one bigger, one smaller. Kind of looks like there's a few leaves on this side. All right. And then you saw how I did I picked a couple of these and I just went off with the fern, right? So you can go as curvy as you want and just get your fern in there. You can add a couple of lines like this to get, like grass coming from behind the flower, right? And I think that's pretty much it on my flower. And I did a couple lines like this, like just in the, to make the petal look like it had a little shape. All right. Once that is all done, right, you're going to just, like we said, we're going to just fill it in with the black marker, right? So now you're going to go nice and slow. And again, this is going to be much smaller and go much faster. I'm going to do my hashtags. And because I've worked it all out in pencil, the pen is easy because I just follow. I just trace like I learned to do in kindergarten. I can even make any corrections if I think, but I would really highly recommend you do that in pencil, right? So that you don't go, uh-oh. There we go. There's my leaves. The pointy leaves with the little curvy line to make it look like it's got some body to it. And then here is my fern or twig or whatever you like to call it. I don't know why I think it's a fern, but it just is. So practice, practice, practice with your pen, or your pencil, I mean, and then just do a couple of skinny, looks like grass or something poking out of the back. All right. And last, I'm going to show you what looks like, to me, looks like, I'm going to turn this way, a bit of, I'm going to say a lilac. All right. So basically I take a nice long line and I have sort of a curved shape. And at the top, I put a little circle. And then about 3/4 of the way down, I have a line kind of like another that goes across like this. Can you see this? Hang on. See that? All right. And that's where I'm going to put a whole bunch of, and really quickly, and no, you don't want this to be really neat and tidy. Okay. A whole bunch of lines like that. This is going to be my stem here. And this is going to be, I'm going to start in the middle and I'm just going to imagine there's a line going here and a line coming out here. I don't usually draw them in, but you see that? And you can just keep your circles inside, and you want to pack them up next to each other so that when you color them in with the black, no rhyme or reason here. See, it doesn't look like I'm doing single lines or anything. I'm just kind of blotting them around, and you can do a couple to make it really look pointy towards the end. So this, again, this is going to be smaller, and you're going to see where it makes you happy and where you think you need to adjust. So, but it needs to look pretty random, I think, in my mind, my drawing. And then, you don't want it that thick. You want this line to be fairly thin because you know that how those lupines and whatever they are they're not really thick. Now these sometimes have, and then you can do a little around here if you like. You just play around with it until you're happy with the pencil shape. These tend to have very thin leaves. So if you're going to draw a leaf on them, just go up, come down really thin, and go up, come down fairly thin. All right. This one's too thin, I think. So I'm going to come down a little wider. And there's your leaves. And then along the bottom, you just literally just do, and you're done.